those L's, I couldn't sleep right now. I get paid, vacay, I'm staying B-side. Breaking the blues over steak, I gotta eat right. You could be my peace sign. I don't need bad energy around me. I just need sun, you're so cloudy. I wake up good, you're so grouchy. Please get from around me. When the truth don't work, you start telling lies. Thought you were down to ride, you weren't down to ride. Caught switching, you were picking sides. Don't blink, caught slipping like a slip and slide. I was shooting dice till I got a nosebleed. Money on the floor, can't get cold feet. Took a L, should've put it in the offering. Lord, forgive me for my sins, don't know of me. Scary thoughts, I got scary thoughts. Lost control, now I'm taking charge. Breaking bills, friends breaking off. You could be the youngest, I'm the dawn. Kiss the ring, nah. In the scene like G.O.T. Stay awake, don't sleep.
Baby girl, listen. I need you to do me a favor and stop what you're doing. I need you to take a breath with me. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. You're gonna be fine. This storm will pass. You're a strong, beautiful, independent queen. You got this.
Is it just me, or is anyone else running out of people they like? Is it just me, or is anyone else running out of people they like?
Is it just me, or is anyone else running out of people they like? I saw that, and I made that weeks ago, and then I saw a lady had done it today. And I'm like, I did that one. I remember that. But I like the one with the girl with the screen face, or the Misfit Panda, I think was the name of it. Shout out to the young lady that made that. That was an awesome video. She's right. You got this. There was you know, I didn't really have anything to talk about today, but a friend of mine called me earlier, and she was kind of going through a panic attack. Not to mention I got a couple of text messages with, people going through some stuff, and you know, it's so funny because just when you think you're the only one that has shit going on in your life, then you realize, hey, it's not all about you. Everybody's got shit going on. Like everybody, And it almost helps to do these streams because, and I know I said, I try to do it midday, but I think more importantly for me than the time is the habit itself of getting on here every day and at least reaching out. Because no matter what time it is, there's always somebody who could use the ear and who could use a good word. You know what I mean? I know it doesn't matter what time of day. I'll scroll through Facebook or TikTok or YouTube or whatever, and if I see something that motivates me, I'm not looking at the clock. You know what I mean? So, but it's so crazy because you can get so caught up in your own world that you forget other people have shit going on too. That's why I said, you know what? I'm going to do something called Freestyle Fridays. I was kicking it around with Jen and a couple of subscribers, Jess and a couple of people. And I was like, why not give people an opportunity to come up and say what's on their mind, what how their week's been, or reflect on a stream that we did, or thoughts that are on their mind. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the link up. And if there's anybody out there who has something that they want to say or get off their chest or put out in the open forum for us to ponder, then so be it. That's exactly what we're going to do. What's up, Jess? How you doing, baby girl? Okay, so there's the link. And I know Jen has the link in her phone if you want to hit that, or if there's anybody out there listening that wants to hit that and wants to come up and vent or talk about their day or their week, I am all ears, you know. Let's hash it out. But yeah, that's why I do these streams, because I feel like they help me. I've gone through so many things with the whole PTSD thing that, every time I get on here and I talk and I reflect on the comments that are made and the things that, Jen and I talk about openly in front of you guys, it makes me like, wow, this really feels like a cleansing. It really does. It feels like a cleansing, and it helps me to get through. You know, we all need something to get through. And he's like, "So, all right, hold on." I feel like I'm in front of a firing squad or something. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit better. I'm like, holy shit. Um, yeah. So, that's why I wanted to come on. But let me see. Is my phone dead? No, I hope not. No. So I was watching. I did not get a chance to get onto season 3 of 60 Days In yet, just because I was still. I I have to watch the tell-alls and the aftermaths and all that stuff that they put on. So I ended up falling asleep. So I finished watching it today, the aftermath of season 2. So now I am fully ready. I know where they are now in their lives, so I'm fully ready to go on to season 3. And I was laughing because I know you sent a text earlier saying that the family's hooked. That's what happened to me. One of my subscribers, Buddha 1000, came on and said, "Hey, have you heard of a program called 60 Days In?" Now that I was new. And the funny part is, I actually reached out to a cast member of the current season, and he reached back out, and we've had conversations. I wanted to try to get him on the show, and I just kind of dropped it. You know how when you're talking to somebody that's famous or kind of famous or whatever, and you don't want to push it because you feel like you're gonna basically overstep, because they probably get hounded by tons and tons of people. But when they talk and they spend time talking to you, it's really cool. But Carlos on the current season, if you look at the current season, he turned out to be a pretty cool dude, and reached back out and had been talking to me about some things that were coming down the pike on the season. And sure enough, they happened just the way he said they would. But I kept my mouth shut because I didn't want to put him out there, because, non-disclosure agreements are no joke, and I didn't want him getting in trouble. So, but yeah, that was season 2 was, I gotta admit, at first when season 2 started, I didn't like Ryan. I thought he was narcissistic and holier than thou, and thought that, he was pretty much smarter than everyone in the world, which he still does, and I'm of that opinion anyway. But I actually ended up liking him for anybody who prevails and gets in there and just makes way with it, and has a not necessarily has a good time, but gets through it without a whole bunch of issues. Like, they don't let shit get to them, they just get through it. And Cream always rises to the top. This kid, no matter where you put him, he always seemed to come out on top in the situation. So I'm like, okay, yeah, he's got some brains, because he went in there and created a store where he just started fasting. He didn't like the stuff that they were giving him on the tray anyway. And he said, "You know what I'm going to do?" He noticed that everybody kind of had their little business going. He said, "I'm going to give away my trays, my breakfast. They give you 3 trays, a breakfast, lunch, and a dinner tray." He said, I don't like this shit anyway. I'm just going to drink a bunch of water, and I'm going to give my tray away for commissary. So anytime everybody knows that I give my tray away. So somebody would walk up to him and be like, look, I got X amount of honey biscuits or honey buns or these 10 waters or whatever have you. And you know how can we work it out? And he would trade his tray. He didn't have to worry about anybody owing him or him owing anybody because it was all up front. When I get the breakfast, you give me the cup of noodles and I'll give you the tray, or the 2 cups of noodles or however whatever kind of commissary it was worth. And he had a pretty cool thing going on, and he had a lot of commissary built up. And the sheriffs always hate it when the participants get the upper hand in there. It's like they want them to get their asses whipped, or they want them to feel uncomfortable. It's like, no, you want them to get in there and be cool because you want them to try to get you information. Although Ryan got in there and started getting so friendly that he didn't want to give up the information. He's like, snitches get stitches. So I'm not telling you nothing. Sorry. I'm not telling you anything because I've kind of gotten close with these people. Okay, Ryan, hello. You're not in there to be an inmate. You're an outmate, remember? You are a snitch. That's why they put you on the show, to snitch. But he ended up getting really cool with some people and decided he didn't want to do it. So they moved him out of that pod into another pod, and that's where he opened the store. So no matter what they did with him, he was going to come out on top. He didn't associate with too many people, but he ended up being a kingpin, running a store. Okay, making sure my thing's not on mute. I have been known to do that. I'll talk for 10, 15 minutes before and not even realize I'm on mute. Hey Jen, what's up, girl? Shout out to Vegan Knowledge. Hi, baby. She said hi, AK. Hey, shout out to Anthony King. What's up, my brother? Shout out to Jess Carroll. Shout out to Jen. Jess Carroll says, I'll have to catch up on, wait a minute. I'll have to catch up on that because I almost finished. What? Holy shit. You do what I do. I will sit there and get into something and literally binge it for 24 hours. That's what I did with oh, Jen, what was it? Blind date or whatever it is love is blind. Don't remember your grandparents used to call everybody by like another name. I'm starting to turn into that, but I'm doing it with the shows, right? Love is first sight. What? No, love is blind. I did that. My mother-in-law turned me on to it, and I could not stop watching it. I started watching it and literally stayed up all night long. And poor Jen, I think she had to work. I don't know if she had to work that next day. I don't think she did actually. Um, but she didn't stay up and she got to sleep, but she woke up periodically. You still watching that? I'm like, yeah, I'm still watching it. Next thing I know, I'm like, I look out, I start to see the morning light coming, and I'm like, oh well, hell with it. I might as well finish watching the season and the tell all and the tell this and tell that and all of that. I watched all of it from episode 1 on through. Talking about binge, we did the binge of binges. Survivor. We started watching it. Well, Jen originally watched season 1 or some of it, and then she kind of fell out of the loop with it, but she had liked it. I had always heard of the show for years and never really watched it. Well, a few years back, she and I watched a couple episodes of it and started looking forward to Wednesdays and got into it. And I think that was a season maybe 15. I know it was the one where it was Gen X versus the millennials. Okay. That's what kicked it off. We watched that season and then became super fans and watched every season after that. And when they got to season 19, that was I forget what that was, but I know they had that was the Island of the Idols or something like that, right? And it was Boston Rob, right? And Sandra. And I'm like, who's Boston Robinson? Okay, all right, Boston Robinson. And they had these freaking huge monument like statues of these two people who had obviously prevailed in past seasons. And I thought, wow, these people must be good. And they let them come back. Okay, okay. Then and wow, they're worshiping. They built monuments to these people. So, and I saw that cast members going to them, getting advice, and and so I thought, you know what? And then season 20 comes up, and it's Winners at War, and Boston Rob and Sandra were there. So I got immediately intrigued by Boston Rob and Sandra. But I want to know who they are. Not only that, I want to know who all those other people are. So we went back 40 seasons. We literally binged 20 years of Survivor in about 6 months' time. It took us a few months to do it, but we get it. We did it. We went back to season one, episode one, and literally watched every season of Survivor. This happened during the pandemic. So, and I'm sure everybody probably hit up Survivor. They probably hit up Grey's Anatomy. There's a few shows in there that people I heard were binging that had never really watched them and caught up on them. So, yeah, Survivor was it for us, and I really, really enjoyed it. Oddly enough, though, when the pandemic hit and they stopped filming, and then they took a break, I kind of lost interest in it. When it came back, it was like, woo, Survivor's back, baby. All right, episode one. Okay. All right. Next night. All right, Survivor. Okay, let's try this again. Let's try this again. I don't know if it's boring to me now, but I could not stay interested. So there's been a couple more new seasons out. I have not seen any of them. This is somebody who was living for Survivor. I mean, we watched every freaking thing. Well, we had watched like 60 and then went back and watched all of them and watched, even rewatched the ones that we had watched. And I'm like, holy, and I got it. I get why everybody worshipped Boston Rob and Sandra, because by the time we got to Winners at War, I was already a super fan of them myself. So I knew what the hype was about. And that was fun, but for some reason I can't seem to get myself motivated to watch it. I was into The Voice at one time, and I cannot seem to get myself motivated to watch that anymore. So yeah, that was weird. Two more episodes, and then Jen said, "Yep, my best friend and some longtime friends are famous, but almost camera shy when asking them." LOL. You've got some friends that were on reality shows. Yeah, it's so cool because like Chantel's mom, Miss Karen. I talk to her all the time, and it's like we're buds. You know what I mean? It's like they're people just like we are. So yeah, they're people just like we are. So when you talk to them and or they get in your DMs, and it's like, don't get intimidated. They put their pants leg on one like you do, same one leg at a time. I've never been intimidated by people with a lot of money or somebody who, a star might be sitting next to me. I'm like, hey, what's going on? That last movie you did? Nice. Pretty cool. How was it filming that? Cool. I don't get all starstruck because they're but you know what? That's because of the grip on mental stuff that I'm into. It's like I feel like Neo in the Matrix. It's like there's no secret anymore. It's not like, oh my God, nobody is on a pedestal. Everybody is going through the same shit I'm going through. Just because they're all over a marquee doesn't mean they're not a person. Doesn't mean they're not just like you. You know what I mean? And they have their good days and their bad days as well. When they take the makeup off, they look just like we do. You know what I mean? So, people bothering them, they want to be us. We want to be them, they want to be us. They want to have a normal life and be able to go out to dinner and not have somebody ask them, "Can you sign this for me?" Eminem, it is what it is. I am whatever you say I am. He's like, I can't take a shit in the bathroom without someone standing by. No, I'm not going to sign your autograph. Just call me an asshole. I don't care. Can I feed my daughter without you coming up bugging us? I get it. You like my shit, but there's some time. I'm trying to have a life here too. But goes with the territory. It goes with the territory. So be careful what you wish for. If you want to be famous, just know everything that comes with it. And if you can handle that, then you're good to go. Some people know how to keep it at bay and say, "Hey, listen, don't bother me. Don't bother me. I'm sorry, but I'm doing my own thing." Some people don't even come out. But that said, you should be able to live your life as well. You know what I mean? But yeah, it is what it is. But I like doing that. Boy, that blue light looks cool back there, doesn't it? I like those lights. They're pretty cool. I had a little club going in here the other day. I had because they'll also, they change color and you put them on any solid color you want. And if you put some music on and click the one setting, it'll go to the music. And I legit had it like a club in here. It was flickering to the beat, and I'm boom, 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 boom. Jem was trying to work, and she would walk by, and it's like, whoa, what is going on? I'm like, I just wanted to test it. I just wanted to. I hear somebody trying to come in, but you're not showing up. So, don't know. Jessica, yes, girl, if you love Survivor, you need to watch my challenge. What is it on? Where's what challenge? Where? On TikTok? Okay, I'm in. I gotta see it. Is it like Survivor like? Combine the drama from the from the TLC shows and Survivor. What? Rupert, I loved Rupert. Dude, Rupert was the dude, man. Dude, you know who my dude is? In Ozzy, dude. Ozzy. They could not touch Ozzy. That first what, what was the first one that he was on where it was Parvati and all of those guys? It was the different ethnic groups. It was like a social thing that they did. They had the Asians and they had the black people and they had the whole whatever, but everybody ended up mixing together and becoming two separate teams. And I mean, Ozzy kicked. Dude was climbing trees and shit, getting coconuts for everybody, going deep sea diving with no oxygen, fishing. Like, what? He's doing what? But Rupert was a good fisherman too. He actually was, and didn't he get like he never won, but I think somebody actually gave him 1 million, and he went and opened like a children's center where he lives. Yeah, who was that? That singer that covers her face with her hair? Sia? She like gave Rupert like $1 million. Like or it was 100K or something like, but somebody gave him, I think, was it the 100K? Why am I thinking he also got 1 million in there somewhere? I don't know, but there have been some characters on that show. Oh my God, wait a minute. Who's the little dude that everybody hated? He looked like Al Capone. Everybody hated this dude. And then he got on Facebook and started doing stuff, and his nephew came on there. Um, and ended up cussing out the black dude. Oh man, what was his name? I can't remember any of their names. My memory sucks. I need to eat some blueberries. Blueberries are good for memory. But he was like a sergeant. But I remember the one girl that he didn't get away with. He couldn't get along with. What was her name? Francesca. He could not get her name right. Francesca. That was funny as hell. Who? Rupert? I don't think Rupert ever won actually. I think that's the whole thing about Rupert. He's gotten all kinds of rewards and prizes and things, but he's never like actually won a season. I remember the last season he was on Money. You know, they say when you scratch your hand. I know the one season that he was on. Um, that was that last season where they had Boston Rob on there. It was good guys versus heroes versus villains, and he was on there with Boston Rob. All right, I can see you now. Let's see if we can get you in here. Hello,
Hello,
hello. How are you?
I am here.
Hey.
How are
Just
you?
I'm good. Just talking about Survivor on Freestyle Friday. We got Jess and Jen and
Freestyle
AK-47 down
Friday.
there.
Oh my goodness, I remember binging that. And then I started getting like all the seasons mixed up in my head because we had seen them so close together. I'd be like, oh, that's the guy from season one. And you're like, no, wait, that's the current season. But it was like I found it so wild when you watch a show, like when you binge it like that,
Yeah,
how old the first episodes
I
look.
know.
Especially that one, because it was like over 10 years, right?
No, 20.
Like two
Yeah, it was
20.
actually
No
20 years,
wonder. It
40
was like
seasons.
looking at old photos and how they are now.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and then the oh man, it's like so many names that I became familiar with are all just jumbled up now because I literally haven't watched the show for a couple years. But I remember the guy with all the curly hair that everybody liked from like season two, and Boston Rob and Amber, their whole love story, that was amazing to watch because we saw that unfold in like I think it was like season 6 or 7, where they basically had a reunion of a lot of the people that um, were fan favorites. And he and Amber met up and fell in love and ended up getting married. And then those two went on the Amazing Race together and came close to winning that, but they didn't win it. But they went on that show together. And then they had an actual show, Boston Rob and Amber's wedding, where they actually showed them get that's on YouTube. Like their whole wedding. It shows like the
Oh
week
yeah,
leading up
remember the?
to
Did you talk about that yet? The spinoff.
what's been on.
Remember that they actually had a little spinoff, Boston Rob and his wife, or was that
Time
it?
at the wedding?
That was when they got married.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought they
Yep.
had more to it.
Yeah, no, I don't think they ever really got a show, but they had a wedding where it was, it was like a 2 hour episode though, because it
Right.
showed like them picking out their food and go and flying to, different parts of the country, getting secret gifts for each other, and they just showed the whole, not just the wedding, but a lot of the things that they did leading up to the wedding. So that was a pretty cool show, and that's on YouTube. Um, but yeah, 60 days in, that's some crazy shit. I definitely think I could pull that off because I was in there for like I think I did 30 days. It was well, that's how jail sentences work. When you are sentenced, you actually end up serving, I think, half your time. So if you get 60 days, you actually only serve like 45 of it or 30 of it. So for every 30, you serve like 15, I think is you actually serve like 15, I think is how that works. Um, and so I was in there for, I had gotten 60 days, but I actually was only in there for like 4 weeks. But I noticed that a lot of them had a hard time adapting when they came out. You know what I mean? And or feeling weird when they came out. And I could relate because when you come out, you kind of are a different person because you've had your freedom stripped. You look at things differently. You look at toothpaste differently. You look, wow, this I have this toothpaste to myself. Or wow, actual food. Okay, like you disappeared. Um, and it just is crazy how your mindset changes. It's
There
crazy
we
how your
go.
mindset changes. Yeah. And you get caught up. It doesn't take long to get institutionalized, as
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman put it in Shawshank Redemption. It does not That process that he's talking about getting institutionalized literally does not take but a few weeks. Once you realize, hey, this is it. I actually forgot that I was not going to be in there that long. And I remember because I had come from corporate America, I was criminal, you know what I mean? So I remember being in there and just kind of mixing well and kind of going to the I became like almost like a pod boss because people kind of looked up because they saw, number one, I wasn't taking any shit. And number two, I don't know. I had all my hair cut off, so a lot of the chicks ended up having a crush or whatever. But I remember playing a Monopoly game and getting everybody involved and really like getting everybody into the game. And just it became a really lively game. And it was like summer camp to me. I'm like, this is freaking awesome. I met a lot of cool people in there. People who, yeah, I had to sell those drugs because otherwise, I would have been out on the street. I mean, it's stories and it's people that you get to know that you realize, hey, this is it's not just some criminal that's hardened criminal that they've thrown in. It's a person who is a good person who did a bad thing and they got caught up in something. And you get to be friends with them and become a family like we talked about yesterday. And so I totally get where they said, oh, I'm gonna miss so and so, or I'm out and I actually missed people. It's a whole different world that you become a part of. And not that that's a good thing, but it's certainly not a bad thing because otherwise, what are you just gonna go in there and go nuts, stare at the wall? You got to get in there and you got to just make the best of it. And then, obviously, when you get out, it makes you a lot more appreciative of just things like looking up at the sky. Things like having a plate of food to eat or being able to just sleep without worrying about somebody stealing your stuff or whatever. But it does change you. Now I got back to me real quick after a few weeks, but you
Well,
know
you're the star of the show, so oh.
huh.
I thought you meant you got back to you instead of talking about the survivor. I was like, you were the survivor. You survived
Nah,
that
but it was
30
it,
days.
it was it was it was cool though. It was cool, you
You
know.
know, that reminds me of like our world and our mind, how it can be like we can be so absorbed in our own world that we forget that other people live in a different world, and like that's why we have to be empathetic to other people because before you did that, you could have just been like, "Oh, that's crazy. People just want
Right.
to be in jail." Like, "Oh, they like it in there. That sounds crazy." But there are people like that's all they know and they go in jail to have that family atmosphere, not that you went in just for okay, I had that experience, I'm
I
out.
had no choice, and yeah, no, I
You
don't want
had
to go
other
back.
options. Some
Yeah.
people they feel like that's their only option when
Well,
they
I met
feel
somebody in there that was the case too because she had gotten out in the top. Like I met her not too long after I went in, and then she had gotten released. Well, before I left, she came back. I'm like, "What are you doing back here, man?" I just, this is all I know, DJ, because Dawn James, a lot of people call me DJ. So this is all I know, DJ. I'm like, so what did you do something on purpose to get back in? And she's like, yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, holy shit.
Because it
That was
becomes like you
home.
said, now watching that show, it really makes a lot of sense. Like they are socialized in there. They
Yeah,
have like little cliques of people. That's like their family. That's like their neighborhood. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
it
So
is.
in that respect, it is, it makes a lot more sense now that I've seen it. And then for you, it probably made even more sense because you were in there and
I
saw how it was.
experienced it.
Remember the one girl that, well, the lady that kind of took on the mother of the dorm. Her daughter was in jail, and
Mona Lisa, yeah.
Mona Lisa. So remember the girl that she was really close to that kind of looked like she was trying to help her out and things, and she left and came in again,
Stephanie, yeah.
Stephanie, before she even got out. So it definitely,
Yeah.
happens anywhere you are. Like, you don't realize what people are socialized in their own homes, how that can be like a little community in their neighborhoods. So it
It's
reminds
it's
me of,
so
like, they say
funny.
fish, they don't do well when they go into a different tank sometimes.
Yeah, and it's so funny because they had the regular place where they first put you in, and that's where they called what was that that they called it in
Oh,
60
like the
days in.
holding cell.
Yeah, yeah, that it was like the bigger. It wasn't general population. It was I can't remember what they
I
called
know
it,
what you're
but
talking about. I can't remember
yeah,
either.
oh man, qualifications or something like that.
Conjunction.
Yeah, it begins with a C, whatever it is. But then they put you in the general population. So it's like you switch over to that. And you just, there are clicks in there you can keep to yourself. But I'm a people person. So I just kind of mingle with everybody. I'd play cards and things like that. And one day I actually talked to one of the guards that was bringing those trays of food. And literally, those trays that you see on the show are the exact trays that was in the Baltimore. I mean, that must be the prison tray. But I talked to the girl and I said, I'm in here for a suspended license. Can you believe? She said, what? And I'm like, yeah. They caught me driving on a suspended license, but I had done it a couple different times. So I guess the judge decided. She's like, girl, you shouldn't even be in here. She said, I tell you what, I'm gonna go ahead and get you down in the kitchen because you probably ain't even doing that much time. Or I'm like, no, I should only be here another couple weeks. Yeah, I'm gonna get you down in the kitchen. You don't belong in here. I was like, really? She's like, yeah, I'll take care of the paperwork. Don't worry about it. And within like 24 hours, they called me and put me down in the kitchen. And I got to work and earn commissary, and I would wash the trays and stuff like that. And the dorm was much nicer. You actually had stalls for showers, which the showers there, they had two stalls, but then they had a row of toilets that was out in the open. If you had to take a shit, it was in front of anybody else who had to take a shit. There were no stalls on the toilets.
Wow, that would
Yeah.
drive me crazy. I'm such a privacy bathroom person.
But in the kitchen dorm, they had stalls and they had more than just two showers. It was like four or five of them, like a row of them. And it was just a nicer environment. It was a lot more, it was a lot cleaner. So there are sections in there as well. Like you move up in a class system or something. You know what I mean? So it's a completely different world inside of the world that when you go in there that you're part of. So I totally get why these participants get so deep involved in what's going on in the cells and in the pods and don't and forget that they're not actually inmates. I had to remind myself, hey, listen, you're getting out of here.
Just
You're
like it might have been how it came up because I was just in and out with sound, but like in Survivor, they get in that zone for all that time that they're out there and they
yeah,
become socialized. Like, they get in the what do they call those little cliques of people?
Allies,
allies, yeah,
alliances. Yeah,
alliances, right. And that's how it is, it looks like on 60 Days In. It's very similar because remember when the new person comes in,
yeah.
there's this group, that's like they're going to go the one time they like went and searched the lady's papers and stuff. I was like it
Hmm.
was like you need to impress there's like a hierarchy of people,
Yeah.
like
And
it
Cherie played it smart because she actually went and befriended the people that everybody else hated. The
mhm.
girls that were doing the drugs and staying up all night and keeping everybody up all night. And they were also the pod bullies. So it's like they stayed up all night and didn't give a shit who cared because they kind of ran. And she even became friends with them. But she did it in a smart way because she was trying to find out how they were getting the drugs in the jail. So she knew she had to not alienate herself from them, but become one of them. Not that she did drugs, but she would sit around and just kind of converse and laugh with them. She was funny, so she would make them laugh all the time. So they liked having her around, whether she did drugs or not.
What
So she,
about Justin, right? Is that his name? That the guy that really got into it, they had to pull him out of the pod because he was like
Ryan, yeah.
Brian. They tried to ask him a question like, "So what's going on in there?" And he's like, "I have a code of honor with the gentleman in my dorm. There's a code of honor," and they were like, "Okay,
Yeah,
he's
I was like, code of
forgetting."
honor. You're not, he's like, you're getting too inmatey. He made
You're
up a
in here
word.
as a spy, basically. You came in here to infiltrate. What
You're
do you mean
supposed
code
to
of honor
snitch,
is with
dude.
us?
That's why they put you in there.
He's like, "Well, they got me confused now. Do they want me to be like an inmate?" It's like, yeah, but when you come out to talk to them, that's what you're in there for, to give them the information. But it's
Listen,
that's
Carlos was
how
the
you can
same
be
way.
socialized. You
Carlos was the same way. He went in and kind of, did some things that was unorthodox, but he rose to the top. He became a pod boss and actually, was protecting people in there. And he's supposed to be a participant, but they did something different in season 7. They actually put people in who had been locked up before. So those people knew how to adapt and knew how to be in jail because they had been there before. That's something that they hadn't done any other season. So that's why I said, Jess, you got to check season 7 out. They pulled some former inmates, not from the jail but they had been locked up before. And oh my God, yeah, yeah, you got to wait till you get to season 7. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So I'm definitely gonna watch season 3 starting like right now, right after we get off of here. I'm gonna put it on and start watching that because I'm excited about that. Because well, it's next. So I've watched season 1, 2, and then she's almost done now. We can review it. I'll go ahead and binge it, and then that way, we can get on here and review it, or even
Jen
get on TikTok and review it.
Jen said they need halfway houses for people coming back into the world so they can adjust and learn. Yeah, and they
Yeah.
need to be able to put people in those places right from the jail and set them up because they leave it up to people. I'm pretty sure on their own to go in these places. And if you're already not motivated, to get into the real world, there has to be an acclimation, right? Like an easy transition. A lot of those programs would be so helpful to keep people from committing more crimes to go back in. Like you said, if that's part and they know it, they just keep letting people go in a cycle and they never give you any tools. That's what I said. When they're in there, why aren't there like productive things going on? Like, why aren't you allowing people to do, maybe they do, I don't know now,
Arts
but
and
like
crafts or
classes
something,
to get into
right?
something, to learn
Financial
something,
classes, things like that.
figuring out what you're going to do when you get out and when it gets close, start to talk with a counselor or planner to try to, plan how we're going to go back into regular society and things and how you're going to deal with your family, have some counseling, like,
I think
especially
they
people.
have that type of stuff in prisons when you're going to do a long stretch of time because they
Oh
have
yeah.
libraries and things like that,
Mhm.
don't they?
Yeah, when you're in prison, yeah, you can get degrees. Ted Bundy earned his law degree in prison.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, some people have studied so much they've gotten themselves out. I know.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
wild.
I remember they had a TV show back in the 80s, early 80s called Kaz, where this guy, his name was Kaczynski, but they called him Kaz. He did that. He actually, the main character, became a lawyer in jail and actually studied and got well enough and found a loophole in the system and got himself out. But that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. What do you think of season 3 so far?
Oh my God. I've seen a couple of seasons of this, and I was sitting down and we were watching, and I was like, I'm going to finish this tonight. I know it's going to happen because this damn woman's so damn stupid. I'm ready to crawl through the TV and smack her. Like, what's wrong with these
That
people?
sounds like me with season 2 with Cherie at first. They're coming at me like I have drugs in my bra. What's up? What the hell's in your bra? So that they don't attack you. Listen, it's my pin number. I didn't want all y'all
You
finding
ever
it. It's
like
that
just
simple.
yell at a TV like, why won't somebody say something? They'll say it to the camera, but not say it to the actual person that's on the show. And I
Right.
don't know if that's planned, but it happens all the
They'll say
time.
it
And
in their
like
confessionals.
90 Day
Yeah.
and Married at First Sight, they're like, well, the reason I did this, this, and this. Well, tell her, not us.
Hmm. Now, I'll admit, there was a couple scenes last night while I was watching where I muted the TV, and a couple of scenes where I couldn't watch it because the severity of the beatings that started happening
Yeah.
made my skin crawl. And
What
the
on
fact
season 3?
it was so season 3 is Atlanta. So it's a whole Bloods, Crips gang war.
Oh
And
wow.
the Bloods are running one of the areas. So it was literally a you're going to give me your food off your tray, right? Situation to kind of make them submit a little bit. And then when
Wow.
they didn't, it was it
Kangaroo court.
was bad, but they got this one guy a few times, and then once they took him to medical, they were like, nope, and they had to move him because these guys were going to kill him. And after
Yeah.
about the third time he got
Wow.
the crap beat out of him, I quit. I couldn't watch it anymore.
Remember the one the guy pushed the
Wow.
emergency button and nobody ever showed up. And
Yeah, Justin in
mhm.
season 2. Well, here's the thing about that. It worked out because Ryan actually gave him the commissary that he needed to pay off the dude that
Yeah.
wanted to whip his ass.
Right,
So
Jen? I get
because
it. Yeah, Atlanta was wild. This season is insane. I was reading Jen's comment down there.
what'd she say? That Atlanta was
And she
crazy?
said, "Hey, ATL, it's wild in there."
I think
But
season 7 actually is in it. Is that Atlanta? Or is that
well, no,
Florida? That might be
I
fun.
watched one season. I can't remember what seasons they were, but I had watched a season, and then when I watched another season, they had brought back a few people that made it the 60 days the first time,
Yeah.
and they went back in and did it again.
Really?
Yeah. And I
Oh,
was like, are you serious? There's this big black guy, and he went in there,
Quentin?
and I can't remember his name, but he
I wonder if
literally
it's Quentin.
when they pulled him out into this when he finished, they didn't pull him out when they finished his second season. He literally has a little shiv that someone made. I mean, and they tossed his cell. They checked him when he was released, and he made it out with drugs and a shiv and was like, "This is how easy it is to get this in and out of your prison right now." I was like, "Ooh,
That
Wow.
one sounds like Carlos.
I can't
Wasn't
remember
it?
what his name is."
Remember he brought stuff out and showed them that too.
Well, I think a few of them do it, but in season 3, they have like in the girls' cell that
Hmm.
oh, and I noticed the trend, and I seen a girl on TikTok, and I've laughed, I giggled because you said it's like summer camp.
Yeah.
This girl on TikTok, she's known as the car girl or whatever, but she went to prison. And in Arkansas, if you're staying longer than like a week or so,
Hmm.
they move you to a prison. And that's what she
Hmm.
called prison was summer camp. She calls it summer camp. But when she was talking about like when you're in county, how nasty and terrible and overcrowded and gross it is, but then when she got to prison, it was like a little mini vacation. I was like, oh, what the hell? But then
Wow. That's backwards.
But then when I start watching these seasons of 60 Days In, if you notice, there's always like two guys in one room, but there's always like six or seven women. And the women's in season 3, there's like six or so. And someone power flushed or did something to one of the toilets, and it literally looked like it's raining in the unit. And they were
Wow.
using their blankets and their mattresses to clean up sewer water.
Oh.
And the women were having to do it, trustees wouldn't, and not one CO came in there to help. Like they're tripping
What?
and slipping and falling. And the prisoners were like, yeah. And then once they're done, they'll take the shitty bed sheets and blankets, they're going to wash them, and then they'll give them back to us.
Wow. So the sewage went out again because that happened in season 2.
Like, yeah, it just flooded the whole thing. And nobody came. The girls were cleaning up behind themselves. They brought in like their backup uniforms, is what they were calling them, out in laundry day. They brought backup. Some woman had crabs. I kid you not. When they brought the supposedly clean linen back and gave this woman her new uniform,
Yeah.
crab eggs and larvae all in it.
Are you kidding me?
You hear her say, I can't wear this. There's crab eggs and there's larvae on these clothes. And the CO's like, I don't want to hear it, and slam the door. Like,
Oh my God, dude.
these nasty. Like, oh,
That is
made me
nasty.
itch. So bad.
Mm.
But yes, you need to watch, because I'm like, I felt like a damn addict sitting there like, one more episode and I got this. Just one more episode. I made six I made 6 baby hats while I was doing it, so I was being productive, but
There you
I
go.
still sat there for 7 hours last night. Like, give me more.
Wow. Unbelievable.
But I mean, while the house is sick, I mean, just
Let
chill
me
out
ask you,
and binge watch TV.
when they seem like they're going through these seasons, I don't know what it seems like to you on 60 Days In, but it seems like they keep telling them what's going on. But does it feel like they're making any improvements, or because they're not in the same?
I think it's because they switch states and locations.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
honestly, if they think about it, staying in one state would probably work, because prisoners and the guards are like, oh, they already filmed here. We're good. They ain't going to come back.
right. And they
If
just
you
go to
stay
business as
focused in
normal.
one area, they're not going to suspect that you're doing the same thing over and over again.
I
Right.
thought it was the same, like they did the first. I don't know why I thought it was the same prison. I'm like, that's kind of sketchy.
For
Like
the
they
first
I
probably
two
gonna
seasons,
figure.
it is. For the first two
Okay,
seasons, it's Clark County because I guess because
that's
it's
what I
Sketch North
thought.
that
I was
started
like,
it.
okay, how's this stuff still going on?
Yeah. But they actually did make some pretty good improvements with that prison. So
It
I'm like,
probably
okay,
would be
cool.
dangerous though to keep doing it, because at some point somebody's gonna notice somebody, and like how we talk about undercover boss got so obvious.
Yeah,
Like,
you can only put off so long. Oh, the film crew's here for X, right? Yeah, okay. We got some
Well,
plans in there, guys.
that happens in season 3 of 60 Days In. The guards take a prisoner to their court date, and the guards were like, I bet this damn documentary crew's here for 60 Days In. And that's all it took for that girl to go back into the cell and start getting people amped up and looking and hunting for whoever it was. That's all it took.
Wow.
I used to think it was funny on Undercover Boss when, like, the first couple of seasons it would look legit, but then the third season it'd be like, yeah, we want to put this person with you to show him how to flip burgers. And the guy would be like, okay, thanks. Man, things are rough for me. I've got like 5 kids, and starts telling the guy his whole life
Starts filling
story.
out the
I'm
whole
like,
life
okay,
story.
you
You
know this
know they
guy's
know what's
this is
up.
the you're trying to get that check from the boss here, like telling your story too quickly. I'm like, you're making it look obvious, dude. It's like people started to know the film crew what it meant. It wasn't a documentary on new employees.
Right.
But that could be like much more dangerous if you think about it in a jail if they knew. Like, oh, you're one of them.
It's so funny too because with all that happened, today, it's like just when you think shit's crazy in your life, you look at that and then you think, wow, actually I got it pretty damn good. Actually, I have
Definitely
it pretty damn good.
puts it in perspective whenever you see someone who's in a deeper struggle, you can then learn
Yes.
to have that gratitude of what you do have. Jen
Mhm.
said someone's going to get fired. Oh yeah, in those jails, when you were talking about here's what they can bring out,
Oh
that
yeah.
guy
Yes.
brought out the weapons and everything. Definitely. Somebody should get fired. But I have a
I
feeling
know.
the guards are in on a lot of it.
Oh yeah, the guards help to bring stuff
'Cause
in
how else
too.
could that happen? Like, it doesn't make sense. It's a closed place.
Well, like on this season, they show how they manipulate certain prescriptions. Like some of the girls are prescribed antidepressants and different mood stabilizers. So they trade them out for someone who was in medical and got painkillers. They cheat them, they
Wow.
swap them out, or they combine them for a different type of combination, and they're kind of just winging it. Like maybe it'll work, maybe it'll do something, maybe it won't. But that's
Hmm.
dangerous. So sometimes they use legitimate prescription meds. But on season 3, you get a look at a couple of these guards that are ready to beat the hell out of the inmates. And one of them's literally like, if those cameras weren't here right now. And you can tell that if they weren't being filmed and they
Yeah.
weren't thinking they were being on that documentary, those
Yeah.
guards would have really done some damage to a couple of those guys.
Unbelievable.
Is that got cameras?
I wonder if
Mm.
he would come on here if I sent him a link.
Phew.
Carlos,
Oh,
you think
wow.
I should try
Can't hurt. Nothing beats a try but a fail. Wait, what? I think I said it backwards.
it?
Nothing beats a fail but a try. No, I'm doing it wrong. Wait, nothing beats a try. I don't know. Yeah, send
Nothing
it.
beats a failure but a try.
I know it's some kind of saying. I'm getting all my cliches mixed up. It's long, right? It's only 6 o'clock. You're doing the midday late, so my brain's not functioning like it was on the coffee
Oh,
peak. These girls know how I get at night. Slow down till that 8:30 second wind.
Coffee wears off.
It makes me tired. Anyways.
Oh, baby, coffee affects you differently. Sorry, Sage is in here too. You give Sage
hey,
coffee, and she's
Sage.
going.
What's going on, girl?
She went to say hi and realized, oh, we got a mouthful of pizza. Let's not.
I'll share some of that.
That's why I put Sally up in that window.
Famous
Mhm.
Sage. Well, maybe
I don't
we
do
would have
candy.
the guest speaker coming on, huh? Who could be more interesting than these two guests you have, though?
Nobody. Absolutely nobody.
Bear.
Oh, who's that?
Yep. Teddy's joining us.
Mm-hmm. Cadence.
Hey.
What other
I don't
shows you watch,
know,
Jessica?
man.
No, I was giggling because I was cooking the kids dinner, and I was trying to tell her to watch the challenge, and she's like, "My challenge? Where's that? TikTok?" I was like, "No, MTV challenge."
I thought it was your challenge. That's funny. So did I, still to this minute. I didn't hear the end of that conversation because I'm multitasking. Oh,
Uh-huh. No, because I did the same thing. I had never watched a single episode of Survivor. And it may have been the same for me when the pandemic started because Sage was on methotrexate for really bad psoriasis. So she couldn't leave the house until we pulled her off and rebuilt her immune system. And so we were binge watching and binge watching and binge watching TV. And then we did the same thing. I finally was like, okay, let's watch this. And I watched an episode, and then 20 seasons later, I was like, what happened to my life?
Is she feeling better now? Oops, I think I lost sound.
No, I'm here. I had to mute. The babies were. Wait, are you talking? Are you on there? We're going to the run to the other room
Mommy's
to turn it on.
famous on YouTube now. But I did hear that, well, I've read a lot of stories that trying to eliminate dairy can help with skin conditions too.
Well, so what we had learned is I had taken her from the time she was pretty little, and she'd get little flares and just little spotches, and it was constant. Well, did you change her laundry detergent? Did you change her shampoo, her body wash, her soap? It was always an allergy of some type. And then when she started school, she'd get those patches, and the school would be like, you need to take her and have her checked. Let's make sure. We can't have her here if she's contagious. And about the same time, we were learning that, she was on the spectrum and she has learning disorders, and she would get so anxious and have so much anxiety from not understanding and learning the same way as the other kids
Mhm.
that
Mm.
it triggered something within her, and the flares would get worse and worse and worse and worse until literally I rolled over one night and rubbed her back because she wasn't feeling good, so she was in bed, and I felt my hand was wet, and I turned on the
Well,
light, and it was blood.
oh no.
Oh, wow.
She was covered in her own blood because she was itching and hurting so bad she just dug herself absolutely raw. So we took her in, and we refused to leave until they did something.
Yeah.
And
I don't blame you.
they did a biopsy, cut a big chunk out of her back, and found out it was plaque psoriasis. But then we got her isolated with some of her learning disorders, and thanks to an amazing teacher, because she had to do kindergarten 2 years in a row, we kind of, through her and some research and other doctors, learned she has a processing disorder and she's dyslexic, and our state doesn't acknowledge dyslexia as a learning disability. So therefore,
Wow.
they don't get the extra help. But the teacher learned Sage just learns differently. If you let Sage do her own thing, she nails it. She doesn't need your help. But if you try to force Sage to learn your way, she doesn't understand. So this
Mm-hmm.
teacher let Sage do everything her way. And once she did that, Sage grades went through the roof, but then it took away the special EEP that she had and the extra time on the state tests, and then she couldn't pass the state tests.
Hmm.
So we pulled
Wow.
her out of school, and I started homeschooling her. She has not had a flare nowhere near that bad since I removed her from public school.
Wow. That's it.
I,
That's,
I
Jen
started
was saying,
homeschooling
and
her, and the stress and the anxiety of being forced to fit in and do things the same way that the other kids were doing
mhm.
was
Poor thing.
physically hurting my child.
Well,
Jen
and
said
we
down in
always
the
talk
comments
about
that
that.
she gets stressed out. She breaks out in the comments. Jen was saying she breaks out in hives when stressed
Oh
out, and
yeah.
she still got scars from when she
Hmm.
scratched them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
Sage, it was in her head, under her arms, the back of her legs. I was in college when it started getting really bad, and I was just getting constant calls from the school. Hey, come get her. Come get her. We can't have her here. She might be contagious. And each time it was the exact same thing. It's not contagious. it's this. It's not contagious. It's this. And the schools were treating her like she was a damn leper.
People don't understand how
Wow.
how your mental state can affect your body. Like it makes sense all of a sudden. It's like, oh, I'm upset about something, so I feel sick. Like people say that, but they don't really realize the magnitude of what you can do to your body when you have stress and anxiety. How it can
Yeah.
manifest just like food can cause something. It can be caused by your
That's what
physical as well. Like
Jen, yeah,
Je-
Jen's in the comments saying some stuff. Yeah,
she's
it
saying
sounds, wow.
it's been happening for the past 7 months. I had a mental breakdown about 2 weeks ago, and my body was fully covered in hives. Wow. And she has scabs in her head because it's
Wow.
constantly scratching. Man, that's
That's
rough.
what today I get. I have really, really, really bad anxiety. And a lot of it stems from the bipolar disorder. Then, everyday life stuff. You get overwhelmed and you get stressed. And normally I can handle it like a tramp. Or, oh, shit. A champ, not a tramp.
Freudian
Sorry.
slip, girl. Freudian slip.
Lady in the champ.
Oh my God. Okay. No, I can handle it like a champ and I'll just, keep rolling. But today I hit a moment of you need to leave or you are going to have a breakdown and it's going to be detrimental to you and other people. Get out of there. That's how
Sometimes
bad
it's
it got
an
today.
exit.
And I was like, I'm not doing it today. I can't because I've been there. I've ended up, my breakdowns will have me locked up where y'all were talking about being in the prison systems and you kind of form those little cliques and those families and you get used to that environment. Unfortunately, I've been hospitalized a few times
Mhm.
in psychiatric hospitals, and you find those people that you relate to that have the same upbringings or the same struggles,
Mhm.
and
Right.
you find that comfort in someone that you identify with. And it does become hard when you come back out to go
Yeah.
back to regular life.
Yeah. Yeah. It really does. And it's so crazy because and it humbles you. It humbles you because it's like you realize that, hey, it's not all about materialistic stuff. It really is about what's on the inside, because we're all the same at the end of the day. When you strip everything away, our bodies, what we own, who we're what, when you strip everything away, we are all the exact same on the inside.
Yeah.
So you can't get caught up in too much, uh, of anything and letting it sway you one way or the other. Because at the end of the day, whether you're dyslexic, whether you're bipolar, whether you're black, white, green, fat, skinny, at the end of the day, what's on the inside is the exact same thing.
Exactly.
Exactly. Mhm. And the wild thing about it is, like we were just talking about, you can't ever judge people or try to, that's one of the things I said. When someone says something or does something, that's when you can take a look at it in a deeper level because sometimes it just is, that you don't know what that person's dealing with. People can look one way on
Right.
the outside, but be dealing with a whole lot of issues on the inside. And sometimes it might, have to manifest itself. So if someone
That's
needs
why
to
you
go,
can't
then we
judge.
got to let them go, just like it's someone who doesn't feel well.
Hmm.
It's the same kind of thing. If it's mental stress, it can be,
Yeah.
you know, just
If you
as
push
bad.
yourself to a mental stress point, which is what it sounds like for poor Jen, when you hit certain breaking points, your body will respond to that. Your body will be like, hey, no, nope. And that's what was happening to Sage. She'd panic, get anxiety and stress, and
See, it's so
cause
weird
those
too.
flares.
I've had
Hmm.
that happen where literally your skin will get hot on a certain
Hmm.
spot, and all of a sudden you'll break out in like a hive. Or with me, I'll get to shaking. I'll start getting the shakes,
Hmm.
and it's like I can't calm myself down. It's almost seizure like, and I'm
Hmm.
like, I can't seem to get. And that's like, you know what, my body, I'm stressing out about something, and sometimes you don't even know that you're stressing, but
Yeah.
then
Your
it
body
just
will try to let you know, though.
your body's letting you know, hey, you feel some kind of way about this. This is
Mhm.
bothering you more than you think it is because I'm reacting to it,
Yeah.
and it's scary when you let, so that's why I said, you know what, I got to get a
Hello, my
grip,
love.
dude. I'm not going to let my mind and my stress levels, affect my body this way. And it's important for me to learn how to handle that so that I can self heal. And I
And you
started
have to
looking
know it
into,
too, because like you
yeah,
said, sometimes
awareness is key.
if your
Awareness is
body is
key.
doing something it doesn't normally do, take a look into the mind, right? Hi,
Yeah,
Right.
Jamie.
Mm-hmm. Hello,
something's
my love.
happening.
Hello, my stunning wife, she said.
I love Pokemon.
Welcome, welcome.
But yeah, it's just crazy how once you identify certain things or certain issues, you
Hmm.
learn how to channel that and you learn how to correct it.
Yep.
Simple, just pulling Kate or pulling Sage out of school. It was a trial thing for a year to see if we could learn a way that she would be able to learn, plus getting her body back on track where she wasn't constantly being sent home for something she couldn't control. And
Hmm.
in that year that we removed her just as a trial basis to get her healed and healthy and everything, it was a completely different child. It
Mhm.
was insane to
Wow.
watch. You let her just let her do her thing. She taught herself multiplication tables with a ruler.
Wow.
Wow,
Like,
That's
that's
cool.
amazing.
like
Wait a
how,
minute, I gotta go off topic for a second. How
mhm.
crazy is it that I call this the J Crew and almost everybody has a J in their name?
I
Jen,
know,
Jess,
right?
Jen, Jamie. I'm like, no way,
Even
it
Janetta's
legit
not
is
here,
the
but she
J
pops in
Crew.
sometimes. And
Janetta, oh my God, Anthony King, we're the outcast, dude. Well, I'm Dawn James, so I got a J in there too.
and Anthony King is just cool, so we'll call
I
him a
told
J
you
too.
guys, have you guys heard my story about how J and J Video got its name?
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, that's just me and Jen's last name, Judd and James. We also have a Judd and James page, but we always refer to ourselves as Judd and James. So J and J Video is me and Jen.
And it looks
That's
like
what I
it's
J
was
and
funny
thinking.
J
I was
because
stands
like,
for.
maybe
people
that's what it was
started
for.
calling her JJ like when she was doing a lot of the sports talk stuff, and they would
Hmm.
call her JJ, and I
Yeah,
would
they
always
call
like
me
turn
JJ.
around and
I'm
look
like,
like,
actually,
wait,
I'm not JJ. I'm DJ. She's JJ. But you're thinking that J and J
together with
Video. They call me, hey JJ, what's up? They'll call me JJ
JJ.
for short.
Like
And
now
I'm like, I
everybody's
feel weird being called by your name.
JJ. Well, some people say that we sound alike on the phone anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
And sometimes we'll say the exact same thing at the exact same minute, like even weird like sounds like that
We are
no
on
one
the
no
same
one could think
frequency.
of. Like someone will say something on TV and we'll be like, "Wow," at the same exact time, and like it's even weirder than that sometimes.
No, it's weirder than that because it's like sometimes it's like, oh man,
I just can't think of an
it'll
example
if
to
somebody will
use.
say facaroni, like right, and we'll say facaroni, right, and then we'll say macaroni at the same time, like matching it. It's weird. I don't know how to describe it.
No, like they
You
would say
know,
macaroni and we'll say facaroni or some weird off the wall word that doesn't even make
right?
sense. Just
Macaroni,
pops out
thacaroni,
out of
and I'll be like, and I'll look at her and I'm like, did you just say macaroni, thacaroni too? And
nowhere.
it's like that is. I'm like,
We are
Jen,
on the same wavelength.
but that's a
It's
real
scary
thing
that you're in those
though.
wavelengths.
That's a real thing. It's
Synchronicity.
actually, it is. It's a real thing. That frequency thing is actually real. And we've been together so long and joined at the hip for so long that we are actually sharing brain waves.
I do believe that can happen.
It
Mhm.
is
Like
Your
happening.
bodies sync. I mean, if your female systems can sync up, then why couldn't mental systems sync up?
yep, exactly. It's like we're all a bunch of like atoms and molecules, right? So
Right.
Exactly.
like, we are all like connected in
We're
that
made of
way.
energy.
I'm made up of more energy when I have coffee.
I know. I haven't had coffee. For
Hey,
some reason,
Jamie.
I switched to hot chocolate.
Jamie
Jamie
says,
said I
"Hey, Joe
declared.
and Dawn. Hey, girl. How you
Hey,
doing?"
so happy you're here.
Hey,
She
girl.
said, I
Hey.
think ours do. You guys probably have that going on too. How long have you known each other?
It'd be 8 years. 8 years,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. You definitely synced up.
Mhm.
You are in tune. That is that is so cool. I think like to know, and then you can like have someone like to talk to. Like I can tell her what's in my head sometimes. Like this might sound crazy, and she's like, no, it doesn't.
We should name the show Rainbow Wives.
Rainbow wives.
Yeah, you heard of Sister Wives. We're Rainbow Wives. Gotta love it. Gotta love
The
it.
Leslie J's.
Lizzie Chase or Jen.
I know. Oh, Jen.
LGBTJ. LGBTJ.
LJBT. Wait.
Wait, what?
Gay with a J. Oh man, that's funny.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get started watching this third season, unless you guys got anything you want to add.
I just
No,
wanted to say thank you, as always. Thank you for having me and letting me come on and ramble a little bit.
me too. I was excited she did it late. Yesterday, I was like, where's Dawn? And today, I was like, please do it a little bit late. I have doctor's appointments and loud kids right now. Do it a little late.
It was the brainwave. She felt it. See?
It was the brainwave.
The
I
J
think I
crew is
received
connected.
that. I did. But yep, I told you I'd be here, but I think I got that vibe. But I'm excited, so I'm gonna turn this on, and then
Oh no, it's
yeah, I definitely
Friday,
think we
so
should
we
do a
won't
stream
see
talking
you
about it.
until Monday, huh?
Let's see what we can
Yeah,
do.
Monday, Meatless Monday and Takeover Tuesday and all the
and take
middays.
over Tuesday. We will be there. I'll probably be doing some TikTok stuff this weekend now. Maybe doing some edited stuff. I'm
Cool.
gonna take your advice. Just keep it light. Do some shorts, and
Right.
throw them on there. If I do go live, it'd probably be, making a sandwich or something for like 10 minutes or
It's
something
too
like that, or
cold for
not even.
shorts. I can hear you from the other room yelling and in my ear. Was that a real laugh or a fake
But
laugh?
yeah, it was real. It was real.
Mm.
But I love you guys.
All right, love you.
I
Thank you,
Love you,
will.
everybody.
lady.
Thanks for coming. All right, we will see you soon.
See you
Very
soon.
soon.
Right. See you later.
See ya.
Gotta get the theme going.
I like.